Boss Culture, your one-stop destination for everything pop culture. Today we're going to do a spoiler review for Doctor Strange. Boy, what can I say about this movie? This movie was amazing. I'm going to try not to go over, well, I might as well just in case you haven't seen the non-spoiler review, but this movie is amazing, especially the special effects. I've seen the movie twice now. I'm going to see it again a third time when the movie hit theaters. And every time I see this movie, I see a little bit more detail to things. I enjoy things a little bit more. Like, this is a really good movie. It definitely has rewatchability. I know a lot of people are asking, should I see it in 3D? Should I see it in 2D? I've seen it in 2D twice already. I'm going to see it in the 3D. I think you should see it in 3D. I love the special effects. I think the special effects are going to be amazing once they hit like IMAX and things of that nature. So, this is a great movie. I think this is an amazing movie. Now, going on into the story, like I said, I had a couple issues with the story, but it wasn't really the story. My biggest issue was with the character development of the side characters. So that would be like Mordu, Ancient One, Christine, Dormammu, Caecilius, things of that nature. Not really Strange himself. I love the way Marvel actually focused on Strange. I personally think they needed to do that for this movie because, well, how can I say this? It's really good. We get to see a lot of Doctor Strange, but Doctor Strange needs these side characters so we can see the full range of his development. Like, from the beginning of how he treats Kristen to, I want to say, near the end, when or maybe mid part, when we start seeing Christine again, it's great. Like, we see how far he has actually come. We see he's actually treating her as an equal. He's having faith in her. And we have faith in other individuals, or not even only Christine, the other doctor that messed up at the beginning of the movie, he's giving faith into. And it's crazy to see that, like, it's not crazy, but it's good to see all this happen. Now, going on from there, more to the story. It could have been explained a lot more, especially like at the end when we see, when we see him actually leave Doctor Strange, it would have made a lot more sense if we would see his struggle within. But I feel like they couldn't go within that without giving the full reveal of what happens the more everybody knows Mordu is going to be a bad guy. Like, if you know anything about Doctor Strange, if you know like where Mordu's endpoint is, you knew this relationship between Mordu and Doctor Strange could not last. Even though he taught him a lot, he actually trained him and helped him out through his time, but it definitely wasn't meant to be friends. Even when the point when she named him Master, I see like, oh, Mordu is not feeling that. And I'm glad they did a lot better than Green Lantern, because in Green Lantern with Sinestro, in the movie with Sinestro was yellow and evil, it made me really like, what, these two are friends the whole time. At least in this movie, we've seen conflicting views. We've seen Mordu was willing to kill without an issue. We see Doctor Strange is not willing to kill, and it's so like it's not really out of the realm of belief that Mordu would be on this whole different path. Now, going on from there, we seen, who else did we see? Caecilius. I like Caecilius' character design. The actual, like, I guess the dark matter around his eyes is like it's really good, because like I didn't even notice after I watched it a couple times. The first time we see Caecilius, he doesn't even have that makeup around his eyes. It's not even until after he still got a couple pages out of the book and realizes how to use energy from like the dark realm, I think it was called, and that he starts to get it, like him and all his disciples. And I love the way they built up the character designs. Like each character, like every character, the way they dress and things was because of how they are. Obviously, it's because of how they are. But I mean as far as relics. So we see each relics pick different people for different reasons. You have to have a certain quality for a relic to pick you, which therefore will affect the way you dress. So we see with Mordu, we see his boots, we see his actual staff, and these relics chose him for certain reasons. There's no way Mordo and Strange can have the same relics unless like maybe there's like they can have similar relics. Maybe they can have like maybe they both can have shoes with the same ability, but it's technically two different. Like it's two different relics basically. And I like how these relics have a self of have kind of like a awareness of self. That at least the cloak does. Because the cloak we see can pull different directions. That was another issue I had with the movie, was the scene between Strange and the cloak. Now, Strange and Cassilia is having this big fight moment, and the cloak finally chooses Strange. And with that being said, we see Strange and the cloak is basically fighting over which weapon they're actually going to use to fight Cassilius with. We see Strange wants to get the what was it, an axe on the wall, I believe it was, and then the cloak wants to grab this little thing as a throw on him. We see him do that, and that was another issue. That was the issue I had with that. One thing I do love, I gotta say, with the special, I already said the special effects, but when they go to like their astral forms, they found a way to perfectly blend it between like not being translucent enough to being just enough like translucent to where you see the character, the details of all the character's outfit and everything. And I love the way when they went to when Strange is talking to Christine, we see like all the shattered glass around them and everything. That was amazing in my opinion. Even the mirror realm or the mirror dimension was great. I love to see all these different and I love the way how they explained it. With Doctor Strange, they kind of like, it reminded me of Iron Man. So when Iron Man came out, they explained the whole Marvel Universe basically being built off science. Now, with Doctor Strange, they did it the same way. Everything is still science, kinda, but it's more like a majestic science. Even when they're doing like what are they doing? Chakras and acupuncture. It was something else they did. I forgot what it was. Maybe yoga. They showed all the different like scales and everything, and like this is all the same science, just different aspects of it, which all fits into one. So I was glad to see that. Like, I really enjoyed seeing how they explained the whole realms and everything. And one thing I did notice is they tied in Ant-Man when he went to like that real shrunk zone in between the atoms into Doctor Strange. So I know, but you don't know what I'm talking about. We were seeing in Ant-Man where he shrunk down too small, and he gets stuck in a timeless dimension. If I'm correct, that's where Dormammu basically resides at. Because we see all the spore-like particles all in the background, and I feel like when Doctor Strange went to that dimension, that's exactly what it looked like with all that purple stuff, different colors and everything, real trippy. And basically, they were setting us up for Doctor Strange. But the way they tied everything else together in this movie was so perfect. I mean, this movie has to be the riskiest movie they've done. They don't know, like no one. I feel like Rocket was a lot more easier to market. Rocket. It was easy to market. It's easy to rocket. What's his name? Peter Quill, Star-Lord. It's easier to rocket to market those characters, especially with that soundtrack. A lot of those soundtracks with nice, good music. So he's using that loud music and everything. Strange did not have that. Yes, it has comedy in it and everything. It has an outstanding cast. But as far as the concept of Strange, I feel like it was a lot harder to market than even Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, this movie is great. We get to see another Infinity Stone. It's the Time Stone, if I'm correct. We see Doctor Strange actually has an affinity with it from the beginning. He has the ability to. I perfectly did it with that apple scene. I love the apple scene. Like that might have really been my favorite scene out of the movie, just as far as effects. Like even though it's super simple, it just showed with the apple being eaten and the apple being full again. I love seeing that. But going into like the better quality of CGI would definitely be like the fight scenes. A lot of people would be like, oh, every fight scene use CGI. But Doctor Strange had to use CGI for it. Like his fight scenes were CGI. Like, it's hard to explain. The best way to see it is like when Doctor Strange throws a punch, he's not really throwing a punch. He has he has an effect on his punches. He's normally throwing like a light whip or something like that, or he's having like a pentagram shield. And what else? It's just things like that that made like he's always has some type of effect on him. He doesn't just throw a punch like we see Thor throws a punch or things of that nature. He's not throwing a punch. He's throwing like magic or something like that. And I love the way they did it. I love the way they did all the effects. By far, when I think it's called, they go into the mirror realm and they start bending all the city on top of each other. I love the way they do this, especially like there's so much going on in these scenes, and the way they kept where they are, let us understand where everybody is. There's like we're able to understand where everyone is in the scene. While even though like you'll see one building is twisting in two different directions, and we'll be able to understand where these characters are located on that building. Or even when they were running down like the stairs and everything else is already like in like a 64, like split like 64 ways in this one path. And that scene, like we see strangers under it, we see mortals on top, we see the two individuals on the side. It's easy. We can still track where everybody is, even though there's so much going on. And I love when like we had to see the moments we did get to see the Ancient One fight. I love the way they are able to display her abilities, her strength, how strong she actually is, and she's even like an asshole at the same time, like how Doctor Strange is. She pushes him way beyond. I think she's more annoyed by him, and like at the same time scared because she had another pupil who had like a great affinity with the forget what they call it with magic, and we see how Caecilius turned out. We see Mordu is how he turned out, and now we see how Strange is. Well, Mordu was still good at the moment, but I was glad to see it like this. And yes, the film had comedy. The comedy didn't overdrown it. I know a lot of people didn't like the comedy in Ultron for some reason. I didn't really mind that, but in this one, the only time I really didn't like the comedy was with the cape of levitation and Strange. They're fighting over which object to grab. But besides that, this is a really great movie. I think everybody should go check it out. Make sure you stay until the end. There's 2 cutscenes. We get to see one mid-credit one, which is kind of got spoiled for everybody. I hope like kind of got spoiled for everybody. The Thor, when they're looking for where Thor and Loki comes, and they're looking for Odin, and I wish Marvel was able to keep a wrap on things like that a little bit more. But besides that, like I said, this was a really great movie. I love the special effects. My favorite scene by far had to be the scene. My special effects scene was just so simple. Was the apple scene? You'll know what I'm talking about when you see the movie. And my favorite scene would have to be the end scene. Obviously, they had to be the big scene where Doctor Strange finally realized how to use the eye gauntlet to full effect, and the whole city basically destroyed. We see the whole city. He finds out how to reverse it. Everything is going into reverse, but the individuals. So we see cars, or everything is repairing itself, and we see they have to dodge things. And this fight seems just amazing to me while everything is going in reverse. It just did something for me that I really enjoyed. Now, Dormammu, we don't get to see too much of Dormammu. I hope that he's going to be in more than just this movie. Even Caecilius, we don't really see Caecilius die. We see him get pulled into the other dimension. Hopefully, all these characters can return for the Infinity Wars. And it has to, I hope that things work out for these Infinity Wars. I definitely want to see Dormammu again. We didn't get to see a full display of him. We just get to see his face and his eyes. I love the different colors of it. This movie is extremely trippy, but I really loved it. I even love the way that Doctor Strange finally learned how to manipulate the Infinity Stone using what he was told. Using this basically, all the advice, things he was giving, and it's great how they decided to tie that in. Now, the best joke had to be like the warning signs. Like everybody knows when we see something, you get the warnings beforehand. And now, but in the Doctor Strange world, all the warnings are afterwards. So we see Strange and Wong aren't really getting along. Like we see like when Wong basically scolds Strange about doing a spell he doesn't understand, and he asks him what was the dangers of doing a spell. He like, I didn't get to that part yet. Like that exactly, you're doing a spell without fully reading it and not knowing what the dangers were, which are actually listed after the spell, which is a bad thing to do. You should list like the cautions beforehand. But there was a joke that Doctor Strange actually uses that at the end of the movie, and we see Wong just dying from it. And that's really all we had. Like I said, this is a really good movie. I suggest everybody go out and check it out. Very good. And like I said, I probably get like, I guess like a 4.7, like a 4.75, maybe a 4.8. But thank you guys for tuning in. That's all we have. As always, all my social media handles are down in the description bar. Make sure you like, comment, describe if you didn't like the movie. If you have some things you think I missed, I should have covered in the video. Let me know. And as always, stay lost.